Hey, Redemption. It's good to be with you through our video devotional for this week. It's Wednesday, and like we talked about on Monday, we're talking this week about trials, hardships, suffering. Why do we go through them? What do we do when they happen? How do we respond faithfully and rightly when these trials come? Remember, we said trials are a season of hardship, unique to you. What is a trial for you may not be a trial for me, and vice versa, but they're unique to you, that test you, but ultimately they help you because of what God is doing in it and through it that you may not even see till later. So for today, we're going to take a look at the writings of Peter, who knew something about trials. He watched his Lord suffer the trial of all trials from a distance after he denied Jesus 3 times. But then after Peter was restored, he encountered trial after trial. Or just read Acts chapter 4. Threatened, beaten, and ultimately Peter gives his life in service to his Lord, being crucified upside down. So Peter is a guy that we can go to, an experienced person when it comes to trials. In his first letter, Peter writes in chapter 4, I'll start in verse 12 and read through verse 19, and then pick it up again in chapter 5, verses 9 and 10. Beloved, don't be surprised at the fiery trial when it comes upon you to test you, as though something strange were happening to you, but rejoice in so far as you share Christ's sufferings, that you may also rejoice and be glad when his glory is revealed. If you're insulted for the name of Christ, you are blessed, because the Spirit of glory and of God rest upon you. But let none of you suffer as a murderer or a thief or an evildoer or a meddler. If anyone suffers as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God in that name. For it is time for judgment to begin at the household of God, and if it begins with us, what will be the outcome for those who do not obey the gospel of God? And if the righteous is scarcely saved, what will become of the ungodly and the sinner? Therefore, let those who suffer according to God's will entrust their souls to a faithful Creator while doing good. Chapter 5, verse 9. Resist him, the devil, firm in your faith, knowing that the same kinds of suffering are being experienced by your brotherhood throughout the world. And after you suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to his eternal glory in Christ, will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. So what is Peter saying? Don't be surprised when these things happen. They're going to happen. He probably remembered what Jesus said in John 16. In this world you will have tribulation, trouble. Don't be surprised if something weird is happening. No, don't go around like expecting it at every turn, but when it does happen, don't be surprised. Rejoice, which sounds odd. Rejoice not necessarily in the midst of it, but because of what will happen as a result of it. And the key to me is found in verse 19. Let those who suffer according to God's will entrust their souls to a faithful Creator while doing good. That's a vertical and a horizontal component. Vertical, entrust your soul to the faithful Creator. He knows what he's doing. He knows what is happening in your life, and he knows how this is going to be working out, and he is working this for a purpose. It's not accidental. He says, according to God's will. So entrust your soul to him. But then it has a horizontal component. While doing good. So what do we do in the midst of trials? Entrust our souls to a faithful Creator. And don't stop glorifying God by the good works that you've been called to do. Why? Why does he say this? Because of the outcome. Standing firm in your faith, knowing that you have brothers and sisters all over the world who are suffering alongside you. You're not alone. You may feel alone, but you're not alone. And here's the outcome. The God of grace, after you suffered a little while, will restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. Like we said on Monday, unlike so many other belief systems where it's your fault or karma or totally retributive in nature, God has something redemptive in mind. So what do we do, according to Peter, when we engage a trial head on? Trust and work. Trust in the Lord and work for his glory and for the good of others. Trials are not pleasant. Trials are not something that we put on the looking forward to list. True. But in these seasons of hardship, no matter what they are, God is up to something good in them. For me, for you. And you're not alone. You're not alone. So let's trust this God and work that his glory would be seen in and through us, especially when trials come.